Welcome to another episode of the Rarely Typical Players podcast.
Hold on, Doug. Before you get into the podcast shenanigans, Mr. Steam Deck, how much was that Steam Deck you paid for?
Oh man, so it's a range of prices. You don't want to know the amount I spent for mine. However, they range from anywhere from like $250 now to 600 for the 1 terabyte. I got the $600 one.
Yeah,
because the OLED and yeah, I'm just so excited about it, right? And I recommended it to you because you play the RPG games. We all play these like 2D games, which makes it super simple to fire up and mad convenient to play it. It makes it fun.
So to my understanding, because I was looking between the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, the lower end model, you can't expand the storage, right? Like the higher one, because one is like basically internal storage.
Maybe that's the ROG Ally situation, but nah, you can pull. I actually own 3 Steam Decks. One is the cheapest model, and I have an OLED one, which is the most expensive one, and you can I showed the 3 to my screen and it did some camera stuff, but you can open it up, put any sort of expansion in it. It takes like a NVMe SSD, and yeah, you really get to work. I even I did a cooling solution to one of them where you put some special thermal paste on the CPU in order to make the cooling solution better. So yeah, I really picked mine apart. They're like a tinkerer's dream.
And you heard it from himself, Psychronic. He not only have one Steam Deck, but 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
Let's freaking go, man. Let's go.
Okay, well, yeah, welcome everyone to another episode of Rarely Typical Players. We were having some trouble with our restream chat for some reason today, so that's why we have this really janky implementation of the YouTube window on the chat right now. So if anybody's wanting to say something, you might want to hop over to YouTube, I guess. But anyway, today we will be playing Manafinder, or reviewing Manafinder. Sorry. This game, I guess I'll start with the synopsis, right? So, Manafinder says, take the role of a Manafinder in this console-style turn-based RPG set in the beautiful but unforgiving world of AV. Fight your way against ferocious beasts and other threats in the quest for mana stones as you define the fate of the exile. And I don't know if there's...
I believe that was it. Oh.
No, there's more.
There's more.
In a world vastly untapped by mankind, powerful beasts roam the land. A community of survivors, the exiles, depend on the power of the mana stones to keep their settlement safe. Manafinders like Lambda's the main character, risk their lives seeking said stones in the wild against external threats and internal conflicts. The mission starts becoming increasingly complicated. Can Lambda achieve a miracle? Then there's some bullet points for like what it's about. 8 to 12 hours of playtime. Explore the fantastical environments of AV with over 23 different biomes. Fight over 120 different beasts, each with unique design and combat strategy. Use different weapons and elemental ores during combat to exploit enemy weaknesses. Collect items, weapons, find mana stones, harvest healing plants, mine elemental ores to aid you in your quest. Meet exiles, Manafinders, nomads, the gods, and other mysterious characters. Choices made throughout the game will not only define the fate of the exile, but also result in one of the 2 completely different final chapters. Okay, I didn't know that. take a break, take side quests with various activities, including mini games that dive deeper into the lives of the exile. So that's the synopsis of the game. So I guess just to start off, what did you guys think about the game? Like your initial impressions of this game?
I think that the synopsis. I guess I'm jumping in because I think D7 has played previous iterations, betas, and stuff, and kind of has a general understanding, a grand understanding of the game, and through as a development. But me playing, getting suggested this game and playing it fresh, I think that the synopsis to begin does not do the game justice. Because as I kind of just looked at the Steam preview and stuff like that, and then currently playing the game myself, I was kind of taken aback and excited to play it. So and surprised at how much there was to offer from this game as a whole. So what do you think, D7?
All right, so starting off in the game, you're locked up. You're being called all types of,
derogatory terms.
Yeah, derogatory names, letdown names, not good names. You know what I mean? So, as a player, you're wondering, okay, why I'm being called a scoundrel? Why I'm being called this? Why I'm being called that? Like, what did I do? So, the game basically, you have when you're starting off, you're wondering why she's in jail. Like, what's the issue? And then you learn that not only you're in jail, but you're being exiled from your town, from your country,
from the kingdom,
from the kingdom, where at the same time you're still wondering what the heck is going on. Why am I being exiled? Because normally people that gets exiled from places is criminals, or maybe they probably broken a law, like a unforgivable law where you can't really punish nobody with a prison sentence, or you're committed of treason. Normally that's punishable by death, but that could lead to exile, banishment as well. Then you realize that not only adults is being exiled, but children is being exiled too. Like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What the heck is going on? Why? What did the kids do?
Right.
And I've read, I'm not saying this is game related, but I did read in some parts of the world they do have generation punishment. Maybe one generation did something and it will affect your generation as well. That's coming forth. Like your children will be punished for your crimes. So maybe it was something that the parents did would cause the children to get banished as well and share the same fate. Even though all children are innocent. So just seeing this in the game definitely get your brain wondering what the heck is going on.
Yeah, I basically the first few minutes of the game really got me interested, really got me hooked to find out more, because I wanted to know, like, and thanks for the suggestion on the mic check. I tested it right before we went live, and then the app automatically made my mic go down, so thanks for catching that. But yeah, I was immediately interested to find out more. I mean, I'm about 4.5 hours in, or 5 hours in. I still don't know what got them exiled. But what my experience of what kind of in playing this game, like, I think my initial impressions are that it has a good presentation. Like, everything looks pretty custom and professional and everything like that. In the beginning, I thought that there was going to be more intrigue, I guess. Like, so one area that I was a little bit like, I guess what I would say is that I thought there would be a little more meat to the story at some point. I don't know if there is further in the part of the game that I'm at, but I also felt like the story was kind of like, it kind of seemed like it started off really interesting, and then it kind of becomes a little more like a giant, like kind of like a giant fetch quest almost. And that's
okay.
Kind of like my like initial impressions of the like of how it felt when I was playing it. But
okay.
It's got a lot of good stuff in it, though. It's got a lot of good stuff.
All right, I guess I just want to clarify. It sounds like that's more so your overall impression, because you know, it's like you're talking about how you felt as you played along, so you ended up feeling that way. I just want to kind of keep the structure, I guess, intact as well. So we're just giving like an initial, right, and then we're going to get into the story, presentation, and gameplay, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if you think about it, the game basically leaves you, you know, you're being exiled and you're being put in the wilderness with not knowing what the outside brings you. It's kind of like Fallout in a way, if you think about it. Well, not like the game itself, but you know, after the Fallout happened, you know, the vaults are built before, you know, so a lot of people is being raised inside the vault. They know nothing about the outside. They don't even think life even exists on the outside. They just know that there's beasts, there's monsters, you know, anything that's on the outside is bad. So to be banished, to be exiled from your home, you know, it gotta be something serious. You know, it gotta be something serious though. You know, and you're actually being exiled from a kingdom. So there is a monarchy going on. You know, there's a king, and only the king can issue a banishment, right? So
And also to add to that, part of what this game is about is that there's a magic barrier around the kingdom, like there's other magical barriers, and you're not able to like pass through them. So that's why when you're exiled, they say there's no way you can come back, because that magic barrier is keeping you from being able to come back. And it is kind of like the vaults and Fallout kind of, and then now you're stuck wandering, and you're with all these other exiles, but as you start to go along, you end up being the only one left at the end after a while, and that's how you get started on your next, you know.
Yeah, and basically, you know, you realize you're basically dumb. You know, you have no survival skills. You don't know how the outside world is, but you know, it's just your typical exile, you know, story. You know, you start off with a group, you leave with the group, nobody know what they're doing, there really no order, everybody is discord. You basically, you know, become the only survivor, basically.
Yep.
Until you you know, you find a settlement, and all of a sudden
Former
exiles. You're the baddest of the baddest.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Like what Psychronic was, we're not going to touch into that, but you know, that's basically, to sum it up without basically giving too much of the story away. You basically get exiled. You know, you prove yourself, survival of the fittest, until you run into, you know, a colony that's outside of of the your kingdom called Mana Hill. I believe the kingdom was called Mana Hill. Yeah, that's the kingdom, Mana Hill. And everything is basically ran off on mana. You know, mana is the key to survive. Like the barrier Psychronic was talking about, that is ran off of mana.
As gas,
So
as gasoline, basically.
yeah. So basically your mana is your gasoline, your electricity is the source of life, right? And now you're in this settlement. I believe that's what they call it. They call it the settlement. And now mana is the resource that everybody needs to get their hands on. Everybody wants. So basically you're going from a modern lifestyle like 2024 all the way back to like maybe 85 AD. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how far you're going back. Now you're like a primitive individual trying to survive. So it definitely gives you the Fallout vibes, but a different skin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
Yeah, so we getting into the. Y'all want to jump into the story?
Yeah.
First. So yeah, where y'all want to start? Whose game was this, by the way? I don't even know.
It was I picked it.
Wolfsden.
Oh no, so I know the developer is Wolfsden, yeah, for sure. But this is Psychronic's pick. Okay, cool. So yeah, what you think about the story?
I thought that so far from what I played, and I played to the part where you fight the mountain, and just past that part. I don't know if you got that. You are way past that part or not, but.
Oh, okay. Yep. That was all of. So you pretty much played all of chapter 1. Oh no, you made it into chapter 2, right?
Yeah.
That's part of chapter 2.
Yeah. So. My initial impressions of the story are that it started off pretty strong, and I liked how it started. But as it went along, I felt like I was on one massive fetch quest, and then like the details of like why started to fade out a little bit for me. Even though like presentation really good, mechanics were fun and stuff like that. This game did a few things different than a lot of games did, and we can talk about those specifics. But as far as the story, I felt like I was hoping for a little more intrigue so far. So like I was hoping for something like somehow you find out about your past and what you actually did to get kicked out, and then like maybe the exiles like come back and like there's some kind of like grand showdown with the king or something. I don't know, but I'm not trying to say how to make the game. I'm just saying that like I felt like after a while I was just on this quest to just get more of these mana stones, and that was kind of when I like faded out a little bit as far as interest, even though like it's all delivered in a very good package. But I still haven't played the rest of it, so I don't know if like it's just around the corner or something. But that's kind of like my initial impressions of the story as far as.
To be honest, my brother, you know, I think it enhances the gameplay a bit when you don't really know why you're exiled.
No, it could, yeah, but is it even important to the story, right? Because I guess being exiled or getting revenge or whatever, that's probably not the point of the story, right? So but I did feel like as it went along, I got a little bit more fetch questy, and you know, after a while, that kind of gets old for me. But again, it was delivered in a very good package. That's how I would describe the story so far.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to pause. I had to mute for like a second, but I did hear you hinting at how they could have done it better. Because I was curious. I was like, okay, so after they do the good intro and kind of get you that nice chunk of initial story, instead of it being fetch questy, what would you have preferred it be to be ideal as far as like having a quote unquote like good story?
I don't know, like a big end, like a bigger end game almost. Like, so what are we just collecting mana stones to keep this exile settlement like afloat, or what's the greater like goal? I mean, that's what I'm wondering.
I think the name of the game is the job title of the settlement. That's what you are, a Manafinder. So, starting off, of course, the build character, you're going to have to do basically that job. That's what you're going to have to be, as a Manafinder, maybe for 1 chapter, 2 chapters, 3 chapters, until everything takes off. So starting off as a Manafinder, you're expected, because now you're doing the role of a Manafinder. The player is doing Manafinder things, but as you develop more into the game, you become more than just a Manafinder, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you go to a new settlement and nobody know who you are, but they see you have potential, they're gonna at least maybe make you a defender, enforcer, or something to protect the kingdom or whatever the settlement.
Of course.
If they know you got potential, and the guy said in the beginning, he's already impressed with her because she survived and she handled herself really well against fighting, what's his name, Strax, whatever his name is.
Yeah, super long name.
So she already proven herself that she could do more than just being a random NPC that just work in the town.
Yeah.
Because Manafinders have a dangerous job, because they're going out in the wilderness finding mana stones and fighting monsters. So it kind of makes sense, if you think about it. It's boring at first, but you got to build up to that point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What do you think about the story, D7?
I think the story was, decently paced. Like, just like Psychronic, you do wonder what she was exiled for, and you want to know as soon as possible. But I think it's more intriguing when certain cutscenes and when you talk to certain NPCs, you kind of get a greater piece of maybe why she was exiled. But I don't know if y'all talk to most of the NPCs in the town, but some of them, had a defiance-like attitude. One person said, you can't tell me what to do. I could do whatever I want. Then another person said that, it was like, now why they was exiled. They was really defiant. But when you look at Lambda, the main character, she doesn't have that type of attitude. She got, she's basically like a silent protagonist, doesn't really show too much of her emotions and stuff like that. So you're still wondering, what the heck did she do to get banished? Like, because she doesn't have those type of traits that shows that she's like against authority or whatnot, because basically she's helping everybody. Even though you can make choices as a player to say that you're not going to do something or you don't want to do it, anything can happen. But I try to play games the right way and pick like the positive choices and stuff like that. So I don't know what the negative outcomes might be. Maybe she could have had a defiant past, but I think the story so far, is going at a good pace. I feel like the part where I'm at, the character is developing pretty good, but at the same time, some things do feel a bit far-fetched, in her terms of abilities and stuff. Some things are questionable, like what the heck, really, you know
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because it was just by chance that she made it to the village. Everybody else got gobbled up. But then numerous times, I don't know if you noticed, like she apparently got KO'd or something in the beginning, and then yeah, she just found her way to the camp. I mean, I guess got rescued by the son of the Oracle.
Oracle.
Yeah, and then got to the camp. So yeah, because I was like, anyway. So I feel like the story was trying to solve the problem that usual RPG Maker games have, and that's like, how do we? Here's another RPG Maker game. How do we make it interesting enough for you to keep playing the thing? I think like us as RPG Maker culture gamers, like we already recognize this. We know there's going to be black text on the white text on the black background. Fade into some 5 to 10 minute cutscene. Some random stuff happening. The way they traditionally deliver story is it's a little lengthy, and then if it's an amateur RPG Maker game, then it's rather unengaging and missing some things and kind of boring, to be honest. This one, I could tell it tried to make an effort to twist that. It started off with that traditional Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, and a lot of RPG Maker trope vibe of you're in jail and you're a prisoner for some old reason. This action game by Koei Tecmo, called Neo. If anybody's played Neo 1 and 2, NIOH, does the same thing. You start off in jail, but it tries to engage you by making you wonder, why is this person getting insulted? And then you recognize that person is you, the playable character, and then you want to know what is wrong with me? What is wrong with this person, right? What did they do wrong to get exiled? And then you get exiled and you got to go, scatter around like all the other exiles, and then you get put up against like impossible odds, like really dumb stuff. Like we got to run away from this one dark NPC, which is like one of the monsters that they're trying to show you, and this is world building right here. They're trying to show you that outside of the protection of that bubble is extreme danger. You know what I'm saying? So all of that is an example of showing other people getting swallowed up by the beast, showing other beasts getting swallowed up by beasts, and it's showing how chaotic it is outside of the barrier. Is really setting the tone for what you're about to get into, and then what you're like striving to maintain some sort of order with once you belong to the camp and stuff like that, and you have to be entrusted to gather the mana stones and fuel their bubble. But I feel like the story was simple and the story was good. I'm not gonna say the story was great, but I think the story was good. The same way I think that the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom story is good. It's not great like the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but the story overall was good, and the way it was delivered was outstanding. Okay, so good story, outstanding way of delivering it, using the pictures, the images, and even when they gave you control, you are frantically trying to, that one piece in the beginning when you have to frantically run away from the beast, or they let you do these mock battles where obviously you're going to lose because you're not prepared for nothing that's going on. They're trying to show you that extremeness, like, okay, you're nowhere near the level of power you need to be, right? you recognize that this world is crazy and it's out of control. And then here's another way they deliver the story, through that one NPC that you go to in the camp. She's like an old lady, and she remembers how it used to be, or something. She knows the story of how the world became itself. So that's up to you to pick too, right? So it's like, okay, they could have did that like any kind of amateur RPG maker developer and throw that right in the beginning, and you have to sit and watch it. Or you can go to the camp, explore the camp as much as you want, stumble upon that old lady, and then that old lady's going to give you the big backstory about how it started. And it was like, once there was a world where everybody was like beasts, and even man was like beasts, and everybody was hunting each other, and everything was like survival of the fittest. But then, there was order with the Mana Stones, and the one guy that, could figure out how to make a berry out of Mana Stones or something like that. And then there was the gods. It reminded me of like Ocarina of Time a lot, where they had the three, gods, it reminded me of Din, Nehru, and Furore and all of that. I mean, they were so close. They didn't introduce like a Triforce, but they were so close. I got strong Link vibes by the protagonist, honestly. Your interaction with the story has the option to be, I want to speak my mind, kind of like that one woman from, what's the one protagonist from the hunting game where you got to hunt the robot beasts? It's on PlayStation. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon.
Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn. So I forgot her name. That's one word.
Aloy.
Yeah, Aloy, right? So it's kind of like that. That's kind of how they got that vibe. So you can kind of be like that, or you could be silent protagonist like Link style and just stay silent, right? Which I thought was really cool. And that's how you interact with the story. That's how they help you to stick around for it as well.
Did you pick any like negative responses?
Oh man, so all right, so I've entered the one camp, and this one guy's camp where he's the protector, but the girl outside, she wants to be a warrior like her dad. You go inside and you go, okay, no, do not let my daughter, don't train my daughter, don't even offer to train my daughter. That's not her role. So, but then you go outside and she's like, well, I want to train anyway. And then I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna train you, right? So I just, I guess you have the option to say, no, you should listen to your dad. But then I would be like, no, I'm gonna train you. So, I don't know. That's probably the most negative I think that I picked.
And you did, if I'm not mistaken, you did see a cutscene and something did happen if you do train them. So this is why I asked, if you said no, would outcome be different and permanent?
I didn't know. I didn't figure that out yet.
Well, there was one instance where I don't know if there's different things that happen for different choices, because when I was fighting the mountain, I was given, like, one guy gives you the poison and to kill the mountain, and I said no, I don't want to use the poison, and then it ended up being that I had to use the poison anyway. So
so it doesn't matter, like
that particular one. I know for sure it doesn't matter.
But there might be ones that do matter, because it does say that there's a totally separate final chapter.
Yeah.
Two separate final chapters based on your decisions that you make.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I thought that's cool.
Might got alternate endings and stuff like that. So add options for replayability. Everybody want, especially for the completionists. So yeah. So are we good to rate the story?
All right, so I did want to speak on the one part where all right, so Psychronic, you said it gets a little like fetch questy. I don't know, I guess around after chapter but leading up to chapter 2, or at what point did you say it started feeling fetch questy?
It was after you make it to the settlement, and then pretty much everything after that.
Oh, dang. Well, I mean, have you played Tears of the Kingdom? Legend of Zelda? Okay, all right. Play that. I mean, well, I'm not going to tell you to play it. I don't know. It's up to you. But I think, like, that game, was worse, right? Just to say, as far as fetch questy, like yeah, you could choose to not go back to their camp. They actually have a camp very similar to Manafinder's camp, right? Which is that's why I get so many parallels between this game and that one. But their whole for a good while of the story is Link, go and get this. Link, go and get this from all of the different towns. But then when you get to the towns, they're like, Link, go and do, so as on the contrary, Breath of the Wild was more like, Link, you don't got anything. You yourself must go, right? You're driven by go save the princess. So whatever you feel like doing is kind of up to you. The stories unfold based on the plights of each individual place. However, in Tears of the Kingdom, it's a little bit inverse. They already they have plights, but in order to kind of follow the trail to figure out what happened to Zelda, they send you on these like kind of random stuff. Okay, you want the Master Sword, you got to go find all of these little like crop trails or crop images in the fields and stuff like that. It does feel weird, really fetch questy. But Tears of the Kingdom specifically is a great game. It's almost like it's a crazy how much game is in that game. So it's different. But so Manafinder though, however linear it is, I think linear is pretty linear. I ain't gonna lie.
It is linear, yeah.
And it's an enjoyable amount of linearity to me, and I think that that's kind of one of the cons I would give it. And then I think the fetching is a part of the story. However, they do throw some interesting bits in there that kind of keep you engaged. For instance, that one warrior that sees life as like as the survival of the fittest he's just like how it used to be. Right, that kind of guy. And I really like, after I talked to the old lady and seen that story, then I met that guy from beginning chapter 2, and I was like, oh, so they call him back to that, which reminded me of a manga, an anime that I used to watch. You ever heard of Dr. Stone?
Yeah.
If you watch Dr. Stone, it's basically the one guy with his ability with the technology trying to get the world back to where it used to be in the future. But then there was this one guy who was like, I want to keep the survival of the fittest. And then there was their clash. So I got those vibes from this character. I really like that character. And
I thought the little character,
I got issues with that too.
I thought the little character development bits that they did were pretty good, actually. And they did add some of those in, which I liked. I don't want to be too hard on the game. It's actually it's a pretty good game, but like storyline wise, like my tiny gripe is it started to just feel a little more fetch questy, a little less grand. But that can, I guess, come down to preference. But
yeah, and I don't want to creep into gameplay, but yeah, the story was how do I say it? The gameplay drives the story up to which point where you have a little bit of freedom, and you can explore and stuff, but then it's not too much to explore. But that's where we're getting into gameplay. I think the story overall was good for an RPG game, great for an RPG Maker game, and I think enough to engage a player, and also simple enough to understand for other folks, like younger folks, to kind of want to get into RPG Maker, RPG world.
Yeah,
right?
It's a standard. It's a beginner game for anyone that's a casual gamer that never played an RPG. Like, they could actually play this and really get into it easily, because it's not a lot of story driven. It's not really complicated to like understand what's going on. So it's definitely family friendly. Anyone could play this, anyone could understand it, and there's not a lot of information to retain.
This would be a good starter RPG, like if someone was just trying to get into RPGs for the first time.
And the characters are minute. They have their different their different the way they act and stuff like that, compared to like your game, Psychronic. You're a story heaven driven developer, so you probably prefer RPGs with a great story, a deep side story. But this game, you're not going to get it with this game. You're just going to get a lot of lore, maybe the different factions, the different sides. You may get a little. It's only one character that you're intrigued. Well, two characters. It's the hero, Lambda, and the other guy. What's his name?
Scar, the dog.
No, not Scar.
Aenar, the son of the Oracle.
No, the guy that starts with the A. He got banished. He got banished.
Oh, the guy in the cloak. The guy in the cloak.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Azane.
Azane.
Yeah. Those are the only two interesting characters, to be honest, that you really want to know about. Everybody else is just, they're just there to pass time. But yeah.
I did feel like Einar and the other guy were just kind of filler Manafinders and junk like that. They had stuff going on with them, but yeah, a little bit one dimensional. Dang. All right, I'm gonna just throw my rating in there so we can jump on over. I was hoping one of y'all probably beat the game. Did you beat the game, D7?
No, I'm close to though. Like I got really, I never got really past the demo because I played it like way before it came out. I would say about a year before the dev actually released it, and out of sight, out of mind, basically.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's the next topic for one of our podcasts. Like, what makes a good story? You know what I mean, for an RPG.
Yeah.
Let me know what y'all think. Hey, but otherwise, like me personally, this joint getting a strong 8. Okay. I don't know how else to say it because I don't want to like get. I still like. I would like to have a longer discussion, and I don't want to like draw us on 15 more minutes, but like. I do want to defend my 8, but I'm gonna leave it at there. Like good, but not great. I feel like it is a perfect vehicle to deliver a wonderful work from Wolfsden. So I think that's where I'm at with the story. Right, I enjoyed it, and I would share it too. I would give it to my daughter to play. Nice.
Yeah. For the story specifically, I'm gonna give it like a 7.5. It was decent. It wasn't like totally boring, but I felt like it was getting a little fetch questy, which is kind of boring to me. But it wasn't that bad either. There was some decent character development in certain parts. Other parts, not as much. But overall, my experience, I would give it a 7.5 from what I've experienced from the story.
Okay, what you think, D7?
I give it an 8.5 because it shows a lot of mystery, especially around the main character. The game, you are playing as a Manafinder. You are seeing the growth. You are seeing, it all depends. Like what you do. You are getting hits, little hints here and there about what could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But for what it is, I think it's just it's a pretty good story. It all depends on preference, though. It all depends on preference. People that's like something quick and easy, this game would be perfect for them. Stories really straight to the point. There's really no second guessing or stuff like that. But like I said, some things just it doesn't make sense. This goes in terms of gameplay, but story wise, I think it's an 8.5. I give it that.
I get it, and I just want to what do you call this? In this section with explaining like like I said, I do want to have that conversation about what makes a really good story and describe. I would love to get into how a game could be a 10 out of 10 in story, in my opinion. And like D7 said, I think the rating or the story specifically, I think rating is a bit subjective, based on like the person's preferences and stuff like that. So yeah, and also I don't want to say that something's an 8 as if I can produce a 10 out of 10 story. You know what I mean? So I guess if whoever's like watching, just take that with a, take it with that consideration in mind, that, I'm giving my rating as if at one point in my life, I played a 10 out of 10 story. So I know what it is, a 10 out of 10 story, but I'm not saying it like, oh, I could do better than Psychronic or Wolfsden and create a 10 out of 10 story. It's just that for these reasons, I just don't think it's the most like perfect story. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, and there's always someone that can do it better. I mean, that's how I see it, right? So like that, but it's okay to have an opinion as well, right? So as a player,
yeah, but check this out. I think that you can create a 10 out of 10 story. Wolfsden can create a 10 out of 10 story. A 10 out of 10 story can be created, and I feel like it can be created by everyone, but it just may not happen, right?
Yeah, right.
You might forget an element. You may choose to not build a certain part of the game based on where the story is going, or you may choose to leave out certain parts or be restricted in what you can deliver, based on the tools or just the game genre itself. Things like that can inhibit the story, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Well, cool. So we got a 7.5, an 8, and an 8.5 for story. So I guess next section, do we want to go into gameplay? Let's go into gameplay. So first off, when I played this, there were some things about it, gameplay-wise, that I actually liked. That because right off the bat, it felt a little different. It wasn't the same exact mechanics I've seen before. For example, like the leveling up was like you don't level up in the traditional way where you're like where you just level up from each combat. You get some kind of pixie dust, or what is it called, stardust from enemies when you kill them, and then you pray to the gods, which they do exist. The gods exist in this game, and they speak to you, and you gain levels and skills and stats through the gods, and giving them their drug of choice, which is the stardust or the pixie dust or whatever it is. And that's that's cool, right? And then the combat was interesting in that you have different weapons, and all of the weapons are available in combat, and each of the weapons is for a different purpose. So they like one the spear is good with fish and reptiles and shit, and then the sword is good for humans, and the pickaxe is good for like armored or like rock enemies, so. And then they also have the elemental part on it, so you can imbue your weapons with elemental power, and that power isn't just anytime you feel like it. You actually have to mine these rocks of these certain elementals to be able to do it, and there's certain battles where you need to be able to do it to win the battle. You won't win if you don't have like a certain element or whatever, right? So overall, I mean, when it comes to the gameplay, I didn't have a problem with the gameplay. I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun, actually, when I was playing the battles. They do get kind of like, once you figure out the formula, you kind of just do the moves, and it wasn't the most difficult game, but at the same time, like I didn't feel like it was really boring either when I was playing it. In terms of the gameplay, I was having fun with it. So I thought they did a pretty good job, and I actually like the forward-facing battles. But if if there's an animation for the characters or an action sequence or something, which they did in these battles, where you actually see the back of the characters when they're fighting instead of just like a slash on the screen. And so I thought I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
No attack on this one, huh?
Well, sometimes, but you choose the weapon that makes sense.
Choose the weapon, so you got Red Genie vibes in a way. All right, so
red Genie vibes.
So I don't know. Were you done, Psychronic?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
On that first part, there might be some additional comments in response to some of your guys' comments, and that you might mention something I didn't think about. But
Gameplay to me, I felt like the developer did it right.
Yeah.
You know, like with the tutorials and everything, like.
Oh, and when you made mistakes, yeah, they like correct. They told you like how to do better next time, basically, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you made mistakes, if you happen to get a game over, if you happen to not run away from an enemy when you should run away from an enemy, you know, they basically teach you through actually being engaged instead of reading long text. You know, and it was short, simple, and straight to the point.
And it felt like part of the gameplay. It didn't feel like a tutorial, even though it was a tutorial sometimes. It felt like you were just doing it, which is great. That they did it right. I agree.
Yeah, and another thing that I did like was they try to be different.
Yeah.
You notice like most RPG games, you know, they try to have the same formula. They try to have when you level up you get skills, or when you the elemental thing. This game, it actually makes you mine for the crystals, because they have certain mana stones that gives you abilities, and you're not going to get every ability. You may miss it, you know what I mean? Like, and instead of magic points, you actually use mana crystals, which is in terms your money as well. Like it could be used to cast spells, it could be used to learn abilities, you know, and it's scarce. That's the thing, it's scarce. And you actually have to, you know, plan out your attacks, because you can run out of mana crystals, and which would render your abilities useless, because you actually need the power of the mana crystals to cast them instead of having your magic points and stuff like that. Then you have the mini games. You have the quests, where you find certain enemies and certain items, you know, to help fill, you know, log books. And so it's just like Psychronic said, you know, it could be fetch questy a bit, which is true. It can feel fetch questy. You know, that's how some developers extend their gameplay. You know, we gotta take a 5-hour story and add 7 more hours of gameplay to the game, or the game gonna feel short. So we add these quests, we add these fetch quests and stuff. But I think this game, you know, did a really great job in terms of the leveling, where, like Psychronic was saying, like instead of experience points, you get dust, you get star dust points. And whenever you pray to the gods, you know, the 3 entities that y'all guys seen earlier, you are able to level up. You are able to turn them in, and upon leveling up, you get a blessing from the main god, which turns to blessing points, and you could use those blessing points with the other 2 gods, their siblings, to learn abilities or increase your stats. So that's actually pretty unique. I mean, in terms of originality, it's not original, but you don't really see that as much in RPGs. You know, normally when you level up, you get your stat increase and you get BP points, and you could use that, or or job points, and use that to learn ability. It's basically the same thing, but in forms of, you got to make a decision between who to give your blessing points to, in order to learn. You can learn the offensive, you get offensive stats, or you get defensive stats. And what other? The game also has like puzzles, puzzles with jumping, and when you're on the boat, that's a puzzle too, to get extra items, and what else it has?
Did you do the coin collecting thing?
Yeah, it got the coin collecting. It got a lot of good stuff in it for what the game is. It's stuff that I like in RPGs, to be honest. I actually like doing stuff like this and playing games that actually gives you fun quests, as I call it, and especially this boy right here. He said, "Come back later. I could teach you tricks, you and your dog tricks." And you could clearly tell that he's a dog. He's an animal trainer. He loves animals and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dang. One of y'all got like an airplane flying by your house or something?
Not me.
I got all kinds of weird loud noises outside my window. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's right. So that was your take on the story, D7? I'm sorry, gameplay.
Oh, and the battles, some battles are strategic.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna win if you don't use like the exploit, like the imbue, because I believe I beat one boss in 2 turns because I picked the right imbue, and it turns out to be a critical hit at that. And if they're vulnerable, sometimes you can get an extra hit off and stuff like that. Then your dog acts as a mirror to you. I don't know you guys pick this up, but whenever you get max your limit break, your dog gets the limit break too, and does it right after.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
That could be a downside. That could be a downside because you don't want the dog you maybe don't want him to do it. Like, don't do it. Like he does it. He does it any freaking way. But
yeah, he should have a heal command. So.
Yeah, but I think they try to make it different. It's not too complicated, but it's pretty good to see. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think like it lends to the uniqueness. At first I was kind of like, man, I want to have Einar on my team. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, can it be a team of Manafinders? How can I build out Lambda? Can she be specialized to like what I want her to be as far as a member of a party? But it's not like that. It's more of a you're the link of the game. It's one hero, but you also have an assistant, which is your dog. And getting the dog was interesting. I like how that was delivered. Wasn't the best. It was a little bit short, but I think that was like intentional because they're like, okay, this is a game about you and you have a dog. Let's get you your dog as soon as possible. One thing, oh man, I think I'm getting in the presentation with all of that. Anyway, I'm basically going to echo what everything that D7 said, so I'm not going to like say it all again. But I think that the gameplay was good and it made me want to keep playing. So I think that speaks volumes based on like in comparison to all the other games that we've been reviewing. I am not a fan of female protagonists because I do tend to imprint myself on the character. However, I did like playing this game. I didn't even care about the protagonist being a girl, because I don't even think the developer cared. Um, it was like they just picked the character, built the game around the character. They probably had close connection to the character and the story and want to build the game in a passionate way. I like developers who do that, but they took away all of the specific what do you call it, like chauvinist or male masculine, that's the word, masculine like elements that I don't think a game needs, but it allows you to kind of play the game without being subjective towards the gender of the character specifically. So I like that a lot. And I liked the battles. I think that because of the uniqueness of the front view battle system, the gameplay was enjoyable. All of the animations really kept you engaged. They, really, like, I was excited to do the little, spear twirl attack. I thought that was super cool. Even though they were kind of simple, the attacks were cool. And I'm trying to think of stuff that D7 didn't already say.
The weapon upgrades.
Okay, so right now I got to only spear upgrades apparently. I did find different weapons, and that was one thing that was cool too, the different weapons. Like they're like, okay, we got different types of enemies in the game. Let's give you a different weapon that will be more effective against different types of enemies in the game. So I thought that was super cool. You get a pickaxe for rock monsters, and you even get a weapon for like ghostly monsters. It's like a vacuum. Hint Luigi's Mansion. You get something like that. So that was cool. Akin to Luigi's Mansion.
That I did not get.
Oh yeah, so yeah, you get that, and that helps you kill all the like sand enemies, like stuff that's made out of like clouds or sand or.
Oh wow! So I'm pretty sure I'm further than you are, and you getting items that I didn't even get. So that shows you, exploration. You probably explore different things than what I've explored.
Oh, okay,
and you got different rewards, so that's good too.
Yeah, I never got that weapon either, so yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, and I found those like red enemies, which was what you was talking to as far as like the bounty hunters. I thought that was cool. I with my RPG Maker mind kept hammering after those red monsters. Even if I lost, I kept trying to beat them and stuff. I don't know what the game has in store after chapter 2, but I guess for what it does have, I'm excited to continue playing it. It may just be more of the same. Get another weapon for a new type of enemy. Get some more points so that you can get some more of the skills from the gods. I don't know, but I don't think it needs any more. I guess it's just like I am okay with it because I don't know. It's doing so many other things well that I don't want to be like, well, I wish it had more customizable weapons or gear, or I could do that. I don't even want to like really. I'm so accepting of what this game is, and I'm enjoying it like that. So
let me ask you guys a question. I think I tried, but I'm not sure the enemies respawn or whatnot.
Oh, they do.
They do.
They do
you
respawn.
You can make them respawn. You got to make them respawn by sleeping at a camp.
Oh.
So if you sleep at the camp, they respawn, and then those little coma shards respawn too. Because
I know the coma shards respawn. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way I could basically train.
I wanted to grind. Yeah, I wanted to grind. Fought that rock monster on the mountain. I was like, man.
Oh, and you know how to beat the rock monster? Did you beat the rock monster?
I ended up beating him.
I beat the rock monster. Yeah.
Not the mountain, but the.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. It's not the mountain. It's the one where you go down and then there's a bunch of rocks you can mine, but then there's that spray rock that's moving around. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
In the game,
hold on. I killed that.
If you fail, they'll tell you how to beat it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I ended up dying. I'm like, what the heck? And
Yeah.
it tells you,
Oh, so the one where it's like you get into the battle and it's like 6 of them things like ores.
nah, this is
That's what I'm
just
talking-
one. This is one rock monster,
Oh,
and
okay.
it does heck of a damage. It can kill you in 2 turns.
Yeah. Dang. I'm
Yeah,
trying
that's
to figure
how.
out where that was.
Yeah, you go south, and it's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of rock ores you can mine,
Yeah.
and it's like a little rock that's rolling around, and if
Mhm.
it sees you, it'll chase you,
Mhm.
and it's a cute little monster, but
Yeah.
he's devastating. You know what I mean? Hit you with rock slides and everything. Take
That's crazy. Because
He'll
I
kill,
feel
he'll
like
kill
I
your
killed
dog in one hit. He'll kill your dog on the first turn.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Yo, and that was on the rock slide. I mean the gray mountain area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What you get for beating that? I think I beat that.
You get you get a whole I think you get a lot of moon points,
Yeah.
and I think you get something else too. I forgot. I think you get something to increase your stat if I could remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Then you fight another enemy, you end up on the same mountain, you end up getting something to kill flying enemies.
Yep, the bow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I got the bow. Yeah, I think I beat that thing. It's like a little like rock monster. It's got 2 little eyes at the bottom. There's
I think it's only one up there, to be honest. That's the only one I encountered.
Okay, because I thought it was like a hide and seek type of thing where the monster was you had to pick which one.
Nah, this ain't
Which
nah
rock?
nah this one is like straight up. He ain't
Okay.
hiding from nobody.
All right. Well, all right. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but I'm gonna find that thing if I didn't find it already. And but yeah, I think overall gameplay is very intriguing. I think that we didn't even talk about the systems for convenience. For instance, fast travel, camping. What else? Oh, the store system is cool with the Watt coins.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out because this game needs its fair due.
Then,
I think
it has your little gambling, your quiz. You could take a quiz to get more coins, and the quiz is based on. It's kind of tricky because it tests your memory. You know, you got simple questions like what's MATK. Of course, you know that's magic attack. Then it shows NPCs portraits, and they ask you who is this person and stuff like that. Then they ask you, it's crazy, right?
I didn't find that. Yeah, now I gotta go find that.
It's in the settlement. It's in the settlement, and it's an NPC you talk to, and you could take a quiz. You could bet how many coins and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So that's pretty good. Like mini games, I like mini games and RPG games, but
for sure.
if it's done correctly, yeah, you know, I'll play it and engage in it. But here it is, you know, the terms of save scum, where you can, you know, basically exploit. I think there is one game where with the girl that you can exploit, you know. So sometimes developers, they need to figure out a way to, you know, to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, I know it's a middle ground because it's tough, right? I think, man, that's almost a conversation in itself because it determines how you want to provide that saving system. Whether you want to lock it so that they're always auto saving on some on like Dark Souls, Elden Ring type of thing, or do you give them that autonomy where they can save anywhere? Manafinder, you can save anywhere. But it also seems like kind of cheap because you can save anywhere, you know, and then approach danger with that assurance that, hey, I'll just go back 5 minutes before I even got into this battle and I'm all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually prefer save anywhere personally because it's like it does, because it happens to me a lot when I play a game. I like will just be enjoying playing the game, and then I accidentally like don't save, and then like 2 hours go by, and then I'm like, oh man, I have to go all the way back. But in this game also had good autosave too, so there was a part where that happened to me where I hadn't saved for like an hour and a half, and then I died, and then the autosave was right before.
It saves each map, and every time you go in the menu, it auto saves.
Yeah, pretty fast too. Yeah, I think like me personally, I prefer the save anywhere, but I respect the autosave. If the game is like locked to autosave, I respect that because it challenges you to want to press forward, no matter like what your circumstances are.
I do too. I've seen it done right, but it's it can be risky, but yeah, it can be.
I don't really like as much the save points.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like a middle ground that doesn't really. It's just more of a hindrance, so then you got to remember where that save point was and stuff like that. I think mechanically it was done for a specific reason. All right, but
it was done because like the thing with save points is like because think about the disadvantages of save anywhere. There is a disadvantage to it because you could potentially save your game over one save file at a point where you've trapped yourself and you can't go any further and you can't go back. That can happen on accident with any save anywhere if you're not careful.
Exactly.
And the save points kind of limit it so that you're only allowed to save at certain points to where you can go forward or back, so that you don't get trapped. Like the player accidentally doesn't get where they save a file that they can no longer run because they can't get past that part or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I only gripe I think I got is the imbue system. I just felt like because you got to collect all of the ores in order to use your elemental powers. Me personally, I tend to want to hoard my ores because I feel like I don't know. I just naturally, I'm like, well, I might come up against a 3-headed flaming water, electric eel or whatever, right? And it's like I'm gonna need all my ores for that. So I end up like hoarding them. That as far as the gameplay. So it's almost like go ahead.
I might fight a flaming hot Cheeto.
Yeah.
So I need. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding. But yeah, like I didn't have a problem with the imbue system. I actually thought it was fine, and I actually liked that the elements run out because it makes it less easy. Normally if you don't have a quantity to it, you can just be like, oh yeah, it's this type of enemy. I'll use the imbue and then I'll attack, and then that can just become like standard. But when you have a limited quantity, you kind of have to, I guess, decide whether it's worth it or not.
Yeah, but then you can't grind, and I think that was the thing. You can grind, but you're gonna grind basically just attacking and stuff like that. Unless the ores come back, which I don't know if they do. They might in some way. You know what I mean?
I mean, you get enough of. I think some of them. I got at least 20
light and dark.
Yeah. Some of them. I mean, well, the battles itself, they're over in 2 turns. Like you could kill an enemy, especially with Scar. You could kill the enemy, hit an enemy and get a vulnerable, and they're pretty much almost dead. And Scar will finish them off. So, like
and it
regular
can happen in reverse too, where they can kill you in 2 hits sometimes too, if like you're not careful.
Yeah.
Somebody got the whirlwind sword. Did you get that, Psychronic? Where you get that sword from?
I don't remember. It's in the gameplay footage, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't even think I have a sword.
Yeah, the sword's really good for humans.
Right, that's the one thing I was supposed to get.
Yeah, I don't have the sword.
Hey man,
that's crazy.
Yep, that's crazy. So I really props to this game for that right there, because I did feel like the game was a little limited as far as is like you being able to build out your character or build out your party. You know what I mean? Like traditional RPGs are. But yeah, there it is right there, man. That's the replayability too. I don't know if it's replayability, but it really like gets you. Shoot, I don't know if I'm locked out, but yeah,
shows you that you want to explore more than what you already playing. Because I'm thinking I'm already exploring everything, but this guy got a whole sword, and I'm like, dang.
And I got the vacuum. Yeah,
I'm hitting the enemies with the freaking axe, thinking, you know what I mean? You could kill a human with any freaking thing, but dang. A sword definitely makes me want to go back and check things over again.
Yeah. So that was super cool. How you guys want to rate the gameplay?
I could go first. You know, the game is easily for beginners. I think my niece can play this game. My daughter could play this game. She's 7 years old. You know, if she could read, she could understand what's going on. This is a beginner, you know, like anybody, a casual. I won't say beginner, but this is a casual game. You know, somebody that wants to play it, not trying to go through a complicated system, whatnot. But overall, it has a lot of interesting points, a lot of interesting ideas, and the exploration being rewarded is definitely what I love in RPGs. Like, I really do. The visual style of it, well, that's more of a presentation, but the just overall, you know, the gameplay itself, I give it an 8.5.
That's what I was going to give it to, 8.5. I thought that the gameplay was simple, but good, and it also was a little different than what I normally see, and I can grasp how they built it, and it makes sense how they built it, and everything flows together. It all works together really well. It's not super complicated either. It's pretty simple. The gameplay loop is pretty simple, but you know, it works. I was having fun playing it. It didn't feel boring to play, and it didn't feel broken. It was pretty good, pretty damn good. So yeah, I'd give it an 8.5 as well.
Gameplay. Look, okay. When you guys gave your scores on the gameplay, I immediately wanted to ask, what would make it to that 10 mark for you guys?
For me, it's okay, because here's the thing. Games for me, this is my own subjective rating, by the way. So games for me that are like in the 8 range, like 8 to 9 range, are like I like this game. It's very good. I have played a game like this before, but it is executed well. And a 10 or a 9 to 10 is like when I haven't seen something like this before. It's blowing me away. Like I like, whoa, I didn't even know you could make a game like this. That kind of thing. So over time, it becomes increasingly harder and harder to get into that 9 and 10, because the more games I play, the more they're like games I've played before, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. But to play devil's advocate, I feel like it is, just like you mentioned, it's subjective, but it's leaning towards a bit of bias because of your level of vastness, right? Because like I said, I played a ton of games that are like this, but I'm not going to hinder its score because it's just like all the other games. Somebody might pick this up and be like, it's the first game that they played like this, and they're going to judge it with that in mind, and may think it's bad or good based on that as well. But us as reviewers, because we review so many games, I specifically have to extract that consideration to give them a fair score, in my opinion. So what you think, D7? What you think would make it a 10?
I revamped the battles. The
Mhm.
battles kind of get repetitive over time. I think the game do a lot of hand holding too. Let me figure out what weapon I need to use against the enemy. Don't just have it like a big billboard say, oh yeah, use this against rock enemies, where it's obvious. If I'm fighting a rock looking enemy, I need to use the pickaxe. Don't like just tell me and constantly remind me, especially when I'm like 5 hours in the game. I think after an hour, your player should at least have some type of understanding on how to complete the game or know what certain type of weapons to use. So I think they kind of kept it on the easy side because they may feel like they don't want nobody to fail at their game. They want everyone to win. And I felt like they did that too much. And like I said, the battles kind of got repetitive. You could lose based off of imbued. You didn't imbue your player with the right element, you're dead. Imbue them with the right element, you're invincible. So that was the only thing that's holding it back is it's the combat for me.
Oh goodness, I feel like I just cheated on my homework because y'all just reminded me of elements that would not make this a perfect score for this game. Yeah, those elements of the battle that you just alluded to regarding the imbue specifically. Yeah, I ran into issues where I couldn't experiment. It was like a right or wrong answer. If I was right, I win. If I was wrong, I'm dead. So I think that could have been explored a little bit more to be like, okay, if I pick one, is it correct? If I pick a imbue, it's wrong. Like punish me, but don't game over me. Man, and also the target audience. The target audience really lends itself to what the level of gameplay would be, whether easy or hard. And I think that it speaks to the level of depth that the gameplay is going to go into, right? So I was a little bit confused at who the target audience was when I seen, I think, the beginning of Act 2, and I think like you're burying some people from the settlement. I was like, I think that's a little mature. So if your target audience is around, late teens up to adult type of deal, then they should be challenged. I think they should be challenged, and you want to be able to drive your player to explore. It's not like you don't want to be too handholdy. You want to maybe give them gameplay elements that will challenge their skill or reward them for being a skillful strategist. Playing RPGs is about strategy and preparation. With that said, I think that it's an amazing implementation of RPG Maker game in spades. I feel like it's just so far into what I think a good RPG Maker game or good RPG game embodies. So I'm very impressed with the work. So I am going to copy y'all homework and also give this. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9 because I think that that 1 point is what I explained to get it to a 10. A little bit curious what the target audience is. Really playing into the gameplay difficulty and expectation, and then the one bit about the imbue and not being able to have enough experimentation, but tremendous nonetheless.
Cool. So now I guess we have an 8.5, 8.5, and 9 for the gameplay. So now I guess we go on to like the presentation and the overall package, how it's presented, graphics, sound, you name I thought it was very. I thought it was packaged very well. Presentation is very good. It looks like a professional game. It doesn't. It's not immediately like. Even though I know it's RPG Maker because I've played so many of them, it felt like they had their own spin on things. The graphics look custom. I don't know. I don't think these are from any pack I've seen. I think it's all custom. It looks like. But maybe it's from a pack of some kind. But
yeah, I think a lot of custom, but some is like colored, recolored.
Yeah. But I liked it. I thought presentation-wise, I mean, it's just they packaged it together pretty well. The menus look nice. The graphics look good. I would say, if anything, though, the presentation-wise, some of the music to me in some of the scenes is a little wonky, but it kind of works for this game. You know, I guess I'd put it like that. But you know, it can be a lot of the tracks could be catchy sometimes, but some of them sounded a little weird. But you know, whatever. But as overall though, I thought this was presented very well. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I guess I just to throw mine in, man. I almost mirror yours as well. Like presentation off the charts, but music was a little sketchy sometimes. Yeah, I actually felt that at one point when I was playing. It's not like a bad thing, but you like. Yeah, I don't see me copping the soundtrack for this game. It's just,
yeah,
you know.
It's like almost like you're. It almost sounds like you're playing with like really old school like MIDI files or something. Like that's kind of like. I guess it's not a gripe. It's still like worked, but I wouldn't say that the soundtrack was like the greatest soundtrack I've ever heard in a game. But it was serviceable.
Yeah. Okay, I think D7 had to step away. Yeah, go ahead, Psychronic, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. The microphone keeps turning itself down. Like I literally set it to the right level, which is here, and then the minute I look away from it, like if I don't hold my mouse on the microphone level setting, it keeps trying to go down to like way quieter than sounds normal. And I've tried to solve this problem for years. Like I don't know what it is with Windows, but even if I check that box, uncheck that box of applications taking exclusive control, it always just manually takes over and turns it way too quiet. And I wish there was a way to like lock it where like no application could mess with it and it could just be at the right level. So I apologize for that. I'm literally just holding it on the
slider.
Like
a skill issue, my guy. Sound like a skill issue on your end.
Hacked or skill issue. Suck. I'm just joking.
No, it's all good.
So, yeah. So, overall, I think. So, what you think, D7, about the presentation?
I think the presentation is good. Like it looks good. Like. Starting off, you get your player interested, like, okay, why am I being exiled? Now you're a Manafinder. Now you find all these cool different stones, learn these abilities. You want to explore. You find these weapons. You playing these mini games. You got this dog. It's a sad story behind the dog, and it does its job to cater to anybody, in my honest opinion. The art looks great. You can tell there's a lot of custom assets. The battle system, even though it's front view, that's the worst thing you can do. They actually tried to spruce it up by actually having action sequencing, limit breaks, different limit breaks for your different weapons. It's a lot of things put into a small package. This definitely looks like a game that could definitely do well on the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion. It is a good RPG that plays better than most RPG Maker games that's out there. But at the same time, it all comes down to preference. But if I saw this, and played the demo of it, I would definitely, consider, copping it. I believe it's $13.99 right now. I believe that's the price, $13.99. So I mean, I don't think it's overpriced, for $13.99, because you can see a lot of the hard work that's being put in this game. But I do agree with you guys on the music. Some of the music just ain't make sense. And some things I'm still trying to fathom. If we got these goddesses and these gods, why aren't they doing anything for the less fortunate? You know what I mean? So
They just want dust. They just want their drugs.
yeah, it basically leaves you these type of questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, or are the gods just for the poor people, or is it just for Lambda? You know what I mean? Because there's some things questionable, but overall, I really think the developer did a really amazing job giving us characters, and I'm not even sure all these characters hand drawn, but I've never seen these characters in any pack.
No AI here.
They look custom, yeah. One sec, I'll be right back.
Unless they're artists themselves and doing most of their work, but when I did check the credits, they did have a lot of different artists credited. So definitely a lot of custom work, custom enemies, definitely a fresh taste. But even if you never play RPG Maker or play RPG Maker, I think this game would definitely attract you. But it is kind of weird that like with this scene, you're in the water fighting an enemy, and it's like you're in the water and not on the boat.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
other than that, I think they did a really great job packaging the whole deal.
Yeah, so I think we're at a consensus regarding the presentation. This is something that I think is really unusual for us to review in this case. It's hard to really criticize too many elements for a couple of reasons. One, because it was done so well, but then also we understand the constraints of the engine. But I wouldn't even say that this really was held back so much from the constraints. I feel like, for instance, like front view battle was a design choice because of the level of art they were able to put into the animations. I think that it was maybe the game overall as a whole might have been hindered by the design choice, because you're a single protagonist. This could have been a 3D Zelda-like adventure game, to that effect. But it is a role-playing game. It's an RPG Maker role-playing game, and it's like, yeah, you take your turn, which I think it was almost like back in the day. I remember myself trying to make one of those old school A Link to the Past type Zeldas, but I used RPG Maker XP or something. One of those, not even XP. It was one of the old joints, right after 2003. Might have been XP. But and I was trying to construct a bomb ability. You put the bomb down, and you had to read the location of each event and see if an enemy would get trapped in it. And that, gameplay that's just an example of gameplay being restricted by the engine and the presentation as well. But overall, I think I was super impressed by it, more impressed than I thought I would be. And the presentation did that, and it did it with the pictures. When it would show a picture of some story elements, it would show a picture of when you go into the shop. It's all right, it's not just a normal shop that pops up on any RPG Maker. It's similar, but it's got a cloud background. You got Joaquin showing up. He's there, and the items you got to buy. I mean, you purchase stuff with Wa coins and all this stuff. That one scene, I think, when you saw the two Manafinders kind of heated towards each other for whatever reason. Einar and somebody else, and there's the purple versus the red or whatever, the flame behind them or whatever. All of those pictures and imagery like added so much. Oh, that one part when you're like walking through the cave, and there's always this one scene where you go through a normal RPG Maker map like cave, but then there's another scene where it's just a corridor, but it has that overlay on the front that shows like depth of the stalactites in the cave, right? I thought that was so cool. And I know that there was a lot of work put into that. I think that was very standout for this game, which made the presentation really make me excited to play the game, however simple it ended up kind of being. So yeah, that's what I think. Presentation really probably carried this game no matter what, and it allowed me to accept the 8 story, allowed me to deal with the 8.5 gameplay. So presentation, that's probably my first 10 out of 10, man. Be honest.
And you also gotta realize this: we play hundreds of RPG Maker games, right? Most of them feel RPG Maker ish. This one, it doesn't really feel RPG Maker, to be honest. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's a lot of customization, a lot of things that can definitely make a game great. And just like Marlon said, it's the engine limitation that maybe this developer actually had, where if they probably made this game in Godot, they could probably make it way better, or Unreal or Unity, they could probably make it better. But I am impressed that this is an RPG Maker game. I haven't lagged, haven't crashed, or anything like that. I actually played fluidly. I played expectantly, how I am expectantly to play a video game. One thing that they did, and I always recommend and tell people these things: when you're making a commercial game, whether it's RPG Maker or anything, assets you really can't control. You know what I mean? Because those could be really costly, getting your own custom assets. The main thing you need to focus on is getting characters. Whether you gotta commission somebody to make your characters, give us some characters that doesn't look so RPG Maker-ish. This developer done that. We got Lambda, we got Scar. They don't look RPG Maker-ish. They definitely look custom. It kind of gives me the asset kind of gives me Time Fantasy vibes, but enhanced.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, like, it almost look like it's Time Fantasy but recolored, redone, and used with different colors. But overall, we're not getting the Herald looking character, the chibi sprites. We're actually getting a fresh IP.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. Is that it's creating characters that we care about, right? We care about Cloud. We care about Chrono. You know what I mean? But if everybody and their mama has a character that looks the same in the next game, then we not gonna really have no relation with the character that we're playing, because we seen this character before. So main thing, spend money, get your characters designed from ground up so they don't look like a generated character. Because if this developer had a generated character per se, the game would not have a big impact on us, because we seen it all. Right? Yeah. We've seen it all. But Lambda and the other characters, and you could tell these are custom characters, because you see a lot of reprints. Even in the beginning, you see 3 guys with shirts, they all look the same. You see them like marching down, like when you was marching out the city. There's 3 dudes with their shirts off. So maybe this developer maybe got probably 30 different characters customized and just reuse some here and there because they know as the player you're not really going to be paying attention to the NPCs and how they look. But the main characters, they definitely created like the big guy. You know what I'm saying? The bit dumb guy that threw the guy off the mountain. You know, they did a great job. And the guy that you're after, what's his name? Quinstavis, I believe that's his name. You know, he wants to hunt people because he think it's fun and stuff like that. Like they're creating characters that scenes that's important, just like Cloud and Sephiroth, Chrono and Magus. That's what games need, and I really think they really hit it hard. So you giving it a 10 out of 10, Marlon? You know,
Yep.
I could definitely see why. You know, I could definitely see why you gave it that.
Okay.
And what are you giving it, D7?
I thought I already gave it.
Maybe it was when I was because I had to leave really quickly.
Oh,
so
I don't think I did. The B with I'm gonna ride with, because like I like everything that I see, to be honest. I like everything I see. You know, everything feel like a fresh taste at a game, regardless of the music and stuff like that. I mean, but it's music I never heard. You know, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It was just like some of them were wonky in certain parts, but like sometimes it worked too. So yeah.
It's never. I mean, of course, I heard some of the sound effects, like the nighttime sound effects with the hooting, the animals. And,
yeah, I've heard those.
You know,
too, but...
it's RPG Maker. I mean, there's certain things you can control, and there's other things that you can't control. So I would give this game a 9.5. To be honest, I'll give it a 9.5 for presentation.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I thought it was very well done, very well executed. Looks very good. It's a professional game. I definitely think that the developer did a good job, and they should keep making games, right? So, and along with everything you guys said, my score on it would be for presentation.
There we have it. It's like, I know somebody asked if we gave the overalls. Like I think we did give our overall take in the beginning. So if you want, you could take some time when you chilling out and listen to us in your free time. I guess the last little bit is whether we're gonna buy the game or not, right?
I already did buy the game,
and so did I.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave him a Steam review as well. So yeah. So
simple action. Sorry, was you about to say something, D7?
Nah, you already answered. Keep or uninstall. Definitely keeping it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd keep it. Yep.
Definitely.
Now, will you say $13.99 is a fair price for this game?
If it was me, I'd go with $9.99. But I mean, it worked. I guess I bought it. Well, it was on sale when I bought it, so I paid like $7 something or whatever. But like, yeah.
Yeah, dang. I think that, honestly, yeah. And it speaks to the quality of the game. I think, like, so I guess me being, I'm going to give my, what do you call it? Biased, or I don't think that's the right word, but like review of the Steam page and stuff.
Yeah.
It made me not like, it didn't draw me astonishingly.
The game is more
in a weird way.
The game is more fun than the Steam page, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I think that leans to the price, because I would say 15, man. because I would consider the sales, right? Like somebody's like going to look at the game, kind of be on the fence, but then if they see it's on the sales, go take them over the fence. So that's my thing. Game might go ahead, D7.
This game has a 77 track soundtrack for $4.99. The highest length track is like 3 minutes and 18 seconds. No, 3.5 minutes. And yeah, so it does have a soundtrack.
Yeah, I don't know if charging for the soundtrack is advisable, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I just think, I see what you're saying, but I think like it was like a it's like what are those things? Because honestly, I don't agree with it either, but I see why it's done. It's like, okay, we want to thank the developer even more. So there's some people who might not agree with our price tags. They might be like, well, this guy did a crazy job, or this male or female, whoever is Wolfsden or whatever, they did a crazy job at making this game. I want to thank them even more. So they'll give them some more money, but then they provide, oh yeah, here's all the music, listen to it, because you for sure can't use it in your game, copyright and stuff like that. But weirdly, man, it's if this had like a Manafinder 2, this reminds me of you ever play what's it called? It's another indie game. It's called Wizard of Legend. Okay, I got the Wizard of Legend vibes because you're a Manafinder. You got the little cape and everything, and there's like lore for the Wizard of Legend. There's lore for Manafinder. Imagine a crossover. You got this chick from Manafinder on Wizard of Legend. That would be insane. That developer should talk to them. You know what I mean? Because it just almost fits, right? You do magic and stuff with the mana crystals and all of that. And reason why I'm saying all this crap is that this IP has the potential to be that valuable, right? Which could put it up there with the $30 price tag.
Yeah.
So
boom. This game been out 2 years. It's been out. I think got released 2022. So basically, they're at the 2-year anniversary mark. I'm not sure if that's how Steam. Do Steam actually okay? The release date was October the 12th, so 2022. So they're beyond their 2-year anniversary. But I really think they need to focus more on maybe porting this out, maybe to to the Switch. To get extra eyes on it and stuff like that. Because, me personally, when you just ground it to Steam and your game been out for so long, you're basically, unless something drastic happens, you're basically like stuck after that 1 year. You may get the most reviews and stuff that you're going to get for the game. So try to expand to different avenues and maybe remarket the game as well. Because you could still sell a 5-year-old game because it still feels fresh. Playing it 2 years later, it still feels like a fresh game. So there's
it's not any fault of the game for the age, because like the only problem isn't the game itself or the age of the game. It's that a lot of the way these algorithms are set up is it's all about the launch, and then after you've launched, it kind of just gets buried, right? And so theoretically you can play a game from 5 years ago. Like sometimes that happens with me, where I'll discover a game that came out 5 years ago and I just never found out about it, and then once I do find out about it and I play it, I like it just as much as if it was a new game that just came out that was good.
Yeah, that's how I feel about playing Chrono Trigger. I gotta play that once a year. I gotta play my Final Fantasy 6 once a year. It feels like a new game each time I play it.
That's cool.
That's amazing, right? When a game make you feel that way.
Yeah. When it was that so good that you like resonate with it, that you want to play it again and again.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can do that with RPG Maker games.
It's difficult, but you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult, but creating those classic when you're an indie developer, you know, it's definitely going to be hard, but you know, you could definitely do it with time, patience, and strategy. So yeah,
Another one in the books.
Nice.
another one in the books. Another one in the books. That's what we do, guys. So we're asking you guys that who is now watching, if you are a developer, definitely join the Rarely Typical Players Discord. If you are a developer and you want us to play your game, go to first you got to join the Discord, of course. Hey, baby girl. Ooh. Join the Discord, and inside the Discord you will see review requests. That's where you can leave the link to your game. That way the RTP podcast can we'll spin the wheel on it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your game. It could be somebody else's game that you want the RTP podcast to review. But you know, we just ask, maybe in the exception, it's 3 of us. If there is a commercial game and whatnot, you know, we are basically a nonprofit. If you could give us donated keys, that'd be great. Sometimes, you know, we actually purchase the game, but you know, we work and we have family, we have lives as well. We're not millionaires and stuff like that, so we try to do what we can. So share the stream, share the live, tell people that there is a group of 3 individuals that supports the RPG Maker community really heavily, and we want, you know, to review their games and give fair feedback and insight. So definitely share the link with your communities. That way, you know, they can get some extra eyes and opinions on their project.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
stop, baby. Stop. I see it. Yeah. Completed work. Ooh, give me 5.
I completed my work.
So
Good, baby, that's good.
yeah.
Daddy's so proud of you.
So before we take off, is there anything you guys want to put out there, or are we good?
Keep developing,
Mm-hmm.
and if you want me to play your game personally, D7, you know how to get in contact with me. My name is D757 Dartman for D757 Gaming. You can email me at my requested email. You can find that on my YouTube channel, and that's it. All from me.
Yeah, and you know, I also review games from time to time as well. So I'm Psychronic. So Psychronic Games is my YouTube channel. I also have my information on there too. So anybody who, because we do our own thing separately, even though we come together for the RTP podcast. So yeah.
Cool. Well, nothing for me right now, but stay tuned, and thank you for listening. And we'll see you guys next week.
Stand by Psychronic on Twitch.
What do you mean stand by on Twitch? Oh, for the featured thing?
I can raid. I'm gonna raid somebody.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Let me know when you're done.
Alright. You can go. Alright, guys.
All right, guys.
Peace out.
Peace
Y'all
out.
stay safe. See you guys later.
See you
All right. See you next week, guys.